Hey everyone, this is James from Investing and Testing, and today I want to go through with you something that we've been working on for a while, which is essentially a skills assessment, which is really a way of proving that you have the skill set required to do the job of software testing. So let's go into it a little bit. So to give you an overview, essentially what our skills assessment is designed to do is mimic the real day-to-day tasks of test engineers. So it is a fully set up automation framework where there are essentially bugs in some of the tests and some bad coding practices. And you need to essentially find those and either describe how to solve them or solve them actually in the code itself. Additionally, there are some tests that we want you to add to the test suite to prove that you can do the job of being a software tester. And by doing this and mimicking real day-to-day tasks, we can essentially showcase that you have the skill set required to do the real job, because this is essentially like mimicking the real job. So again, by doing so, we're also able to assess each individual's strengths and weaknesses. So I can say, look, this guy is very good at WebDriver testing, but maybe lacks an understanding of API testing, or maybe they're really good at actually creating the tests, but they don't fully understand how the framework should be constructed. And again, that's not necessarily saying that you're going to be wrong for the job. It actually might be that they don't need someone that does framework work, or they're not doing API tests at the moment, or they're going to train you on that. It's just giving a better picture to the hiring managers of what your skill set is so that they can really find the right job for you. And so then here we've got the actual link. You can find it at github.com, investing and testing, and then Java Assessment Public. We are going to be working on different versions. So we'll have a Python one up soon, a JavaScript one up soon, and then we'll be adding other ones as we see fit. I should note before I move on that most of these are, well, actually the only one is focused on test automation. I do have a plan to build a manual testing one. It's just a little bit more challenging for me because it's harder to have this group of tests that's set out, whereas GitHub essentially provides the perfect place for me to put this and have a real project. So how do you complete the assessment? So there are details in the README file in that repository, so go into that, but the high level is really you make a copy of the repository. You can either fork it or create a zip file and then do it on your own private computer. We would like you to make the code private. We don't want everyone just being able to search up what you've done for your assessment. We want it to be we want the answers to be hidden, so they're not just copied from person to person. And also, you might copy the wrong answers, right? You might copy someone that that missed some things. And then after that, we want you to note or fix any issues that you find in the repository. Again, there are bugs, there are tests that need to be added, and that's actually the next point. We want you to implement the purchase feature. So build out all the tests, find the elements. If you're doing WebDriver, create the API calls for the API testing. And we really want you to then, so sort of time box it, right? Don't spend hours and hours and hours doing this. Make sure you're showcasing your skill set. It shouldn't take you longer than 2 hours to find the issues and build out the feature. And then it's up to you whether you fix them or just note them. Depending on how much time you have. And then we want you to spend about an hour then completing some tasks from the task list, which is in that README file, that match your skill set. So choose the ones that you can finish. Don't choose ones that are like outside of your grasp of automation, and don't choose ones that are like super easy, so there's no real, it doesn't really showcase what you can do. And then finally, there is a set of questions that are in the README file again, which I just want you to answer. And again, that's designed to really just show us your competencies. So now the question that I want to answer is really, like, why should you do this, right? If you're looking for a job, what's the reason to actually do this? The main reason is like what I've been talking about the whole time, which is to prove that you have the skill sets to do the job. And when you're applying for jobs, especially now, there is going to be a large number of people applying for each role, and you need a way to differentiate yourself. And by having an online portfolio, which really does showcase your skills, that's going to help push yourself to the top of the pile. And then again, if you complete a task like this or an assessment like this, again, it can be used for all job applications, right? Like you can essentially show them that you've done this for every job that you apply for. It's not like you then have to reprove that you have to do this for every single job you apply for. This is essentially a one and done. Maybe you go back to it later when you've increased your skill set, when you want to add maybe another couple of tasks to again show that you've got those skills. But this is really, you do it once and then you can leverage that for all of the jobs that you look for. And then again, once you've gone through this, and if you actually work with us and we'll do the assessment with you and then give you a report, then it's going to provide you a clear path to improving, right? We are going to tell you where you're having troubles, what issues you've potentially missed, and then where you can expand your knowledge. And then it's actually, I guess it's up to you whether you become a generalist and focus on shoring up those weaknesses, or really specialize in the areas that you've done really well at, right? Like you might not know WebDriver very well, right? Like you might have excelled at the API stuff, and then that might be what you use to leverage getting jobs. You might essentially be like, I am the API expert. I have aced this section. You can see everything that I've done. I don't know WebDriver as well. I'll be able to pick it up, but then you're applying, and you essentially, it's another way of differentiating yourself. You are a master at API testing. And then if you're a hiring manager and you're listening to this, why should you look at doing an assessment like this? Well, the truth is you're probably already doing one as part of your hiring funnel. So as the candidates come through, that obviously you're giving them a set of tasks, and then this is giving you a very generic and in-depth assessment, right? It's not just a whole bunch of WebDriver questions that anyone can find the answer to very quickly just by a simple Google. This is more in-depth, more like real work scenarios. And then if you work with us, we can give you a full assessment of the candidates. Imagine if you can just be like, okay, we are looking for an API person and someone that can do this. And then straight away from the assessment report, you can literally see which candidates meet those criteria, rather than just having a whole bunch of questions that you're asking. And from that, it's really going to enable you to streamline your hiring. I know from personal experience, it can take a long time to hire test engineers. You've got to wade through a lot of CVs, you've got to ask a lot of questions, and it's not a lot of fun doing it. We want to get people into jobs as quickly as possible, and we think by giving this out to, making this available, it's going to help do that. Now what I'd like to do is show you the report that I've been working on. So give me a sec. All right, guys, so this is the report that I've been working on. Actually, let's make it a little bit smaller so you can see the whole thing. And so you can essentially see it's a report for this assessment. It gives you the name of the person that's completed it, their contact details, and the date. And then it goes through each of the aspects that we look for in the assessment, and then gives you essentially a grade, a representation of how well they've done, and then tells you some high-level feedback of what they've potentially missed and where they could improve. So we can see here, the person that took this, he was good at doing API testing. He found all the errors in the API testing, whereas for Selenium, he missed some of the invalid locators. And you know what you're hiring for. You know the strengths of the framework and the strengths of the other individuals and the teams. So then you can sort of try to tailor this to find the exact right hire for yourself. In this case, this person did not have a strong grasp of test frameworks. He missed a whole bunch of details regarding running them in parallel. He did find that there needed to be a hook implemented, but he missed a whole bunch of duplication of code, and he missed pulling other functions into the framework. But if that's not what you're looking for, if you're looking for someone who can pick up the API testing and is competent with the test authoring, this is the perfect candidate. Whereas with Cucumber, he didn't know anything. So we give you essentially that level of detail where you can really work out exactly who you want to hire. And for individual testers, this can give you essentially what you should be focusing on. Then you can match this up to courses, especially while everyone's got some downtime now, that you might want to take that's really going to improve your skill set. So there might be a Cucumber course that you want to take, or currently the assessments in Java. This person didn't know Java very well, so you might want to take a Java course. And this person may want to take a Selenium course to learn a little bit more about the locators that can be used. But you see, you should hopefully be able to see that from this, you can really streamline your testing process. You can really help hire people faster and get them into roles during this time. Right, thanks for listening. If you have any questions or comments, you can reach out to me, James Farrier at investingandtesting.com. Thanks, guys.